I'm Samuel Miele,
I'm Scott Fishman,
and this is the Student of the 21st Century podcast.
where every single week we're going to talk about all the things that school didn't teach you.
Are you ready to graduate?
Tune in for a new episode every week.
We'll see you there. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Student of the 21st Century podcast.
I'm Scott Fishman,
And my name is Samuel Miele, and today, what are we talking about, Scott?
talking about how it's okay to not know what you're doing.
Being young and stupid.
We're pretty good at that sometimes.
You know, we definitely fill the young role, and I think at some points you could say, like, we're stupid. But quite honestly, everything's a learning lesson. You're always going to learn from something. So you just have to try it.
Yeah, it's just those moments of feeling stupid and knowing that it's going to happen and being okay with it.
Scott, did you belong in school?
It's a tough question to answer because, like post-secondary education, I think it depended on the program because I went down so many different avenues. But my biggest takeaway from being in school was that not knowing what I wanted to do was an okay feeling to have. And I think that was the hardest thing.
Well, so many people have that feeling.
Right. And that was the hardest thing to come to the realization about is that it's okay to not know. And I think that when you come out of high school, majority of people don't. They go to school like post-secondary pretty much to learn how to learn is how I like to say it.
But see, the problem that I see is a lot of people escape to post-secondary because they don't know what they want to do, so they expect school to figure it out for them.
Right.
Like, okay, Becca or my sister, my older sister, seriously strong degrees.
Yep.
And didn't really know what they wanted to do, but like thought, okay, this would be good, right? And then you get out of it, and now 2 years later, you're not even using it.
Yeah, I think that part of the problem is that there's a misconception that going to post-secondary is going to teach you basically how to be an adult and what to do as an adult, where the flip side is that I found through my experiences that when I went to school, I pretty much learned how to learn, not where it's going to take me career-wise. Obviously, there's certain things you go to school for, like an engineer, doctor, vet, all that kind of stuff, lawyer, where, you come out of school and you have a career path. But majority of the degrees that you come out of school with, it doesn't necessarily help you career path. It helps you figure out how you can learn. And then you have to be able to take that away and figure out what you actually like doing, which isn't really what it's billed to be, but that's ultimately what it is.
A lot of people say, what do I do? I don't even know what I like. Or I'll ask them, what do you like? And I don't even know.
Yeah.
Well, like, what do you do on your spare time? Do you play video games? Cool. Start streaming.
Yeah. Start
Start making content.
Everybody wants to be a content creator now.
And you know what? Quite honestly, it's not impossible. It does get harder and harder, but you got to do things to set up yourself apart from the rest.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you don't, you're never going to see any results. And so I think what's crucial is you find out first what you think you have a passion in.
Right.
You date it. Don't marry it.
I think that that's the hardest thing for most people. And that's why going to school is the route that you take, because when you're in high school, that's really all you're told about. Like for me, for example, when I was in high school, all I ever really knew was going to school. And it's, like I said, it's billed to figure out what you want to do, or at 18 that you know what you're going to school for if you're going to be a doctor. But it's really, like I said, my takeaway is that you're going to learn how to learn, and you're teaching yourself through other people how you learn the best. Now, some of us can do that in high school. Like I was fortunate enough that in high school, I learned how to learn, and I come from a background where that was encouraged. Now, most people don't, unfortunately, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I knew going into school that I was going to learn how I can learn. It wasn't going to career path anything for me. So not knowing what I was going to do on the other side was okay, but it was still a hard mental block to get past. And I think that's what most people struggle with, is that not knowing is an okay thing to feel. And being young, and as older people like to say, young and stupid, like it's okay to be billed as that, because how are you supposed to know unless you try a bunch of different things until you figure out? Look at us. Ultimately we both more or less stumbled into what we're doing by just trying a bunch of different things. And then at the end of the day being like, wow, this is cool. I like this.
Yeah. And I think that was the best part about it, was you knew your passion.
Yeah.
And you like for me, I started doing Fortnite videos, but even before that, I started doing YouTube videos on my own. And I mean, they're literally, I mean, they're they're unlisted now on YouTube because I don't want to keep them public, but maybe one day I'll publicize them again. But throughout grade 9, grade 7, 8, 9, I was creating my own YouTube videos. And I wanted to be, like you said, a content creator.
Yeah.
So I started doing things to make myself a content creator. I started trying it and started learning that way. Then I get into Fortnite videos because I want to start making money. So I started selling my skills as an editor.
Right.
But then now I'm like, how do I make more money? Right? I want to make more money, and Fortnite videos aren't just cutting it. So I start trying to shoot for other people in person.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of where I'm at now, right? Just a little bit bigger
And
with
on
more
scale.
people.
Yeah. Right. But the only way that you could have possibly figured that out was by playing video games, which then morphed into creating videos about video games. And then it's morphed into where we're sitting right now, ultimately.
Yeah.
But you never would have known that if you weren't encouraged at a younger age to try new things. And I think that that's part of the challenge, is that people feel like I have to go to high school, I then have to go to university for this, and I'm going to come out of it and have a job. And unfortunately, that's just not it. You have to go to university with the want to learn, and then come out of school and feel like, okay, I taught myself how to learn. Now, what do I want to do with that?
You know, I gotta say, as you teach, you learn more. So when you're trying to teach people, you learn so much. And I just have to say that because we just brought in a co-op student, and I mean, you see it because sometimes you're at the office just chilling around, and we brought in this co-op student, and I asked him, you know, Nick, do you want to learn through business? Do you want to learn social media? Do you want to learn the content side? He goes, business. And I said, done, no problem. So we started for the next 4 months, he's going to be creating a business plan. Well, he's having me read his business plan. He's creating it. He's doing all these cool details in it. He's breaking down my old business plan, telling me what's good with it, what's wrong with it, what he feels could change, and giving him that level of initiative and encouraging to have free thinking ability will allow him and empower him to build a business he wants.
Right.
Not what school's supposed to teach him, that he has to take an apprenticeship and then go work for somebody for 20 years and then, you know,
Get a pension and retire.
Get a pension and retire.
Yeah.
Try things that you want to do. Not saying working for somebody's a bad thing, but what I am saying is find the passion that you want to achieve and find the dreams and the goals that you have.
Right.
And those will come as you try things. So encourage people to try things. And that's what I see the biggest problem in the school system. So I'm getting passionate, but it really irks me.
And I agree. I mean, if you look at your co-op students, because you have 2 of them.
Yeah.
Anyways, different story for a different day. But I mean, with your co-op students, if they were never encouraged to do that, to create a business plan, would they have ever done that? I know it's a super general question, and you can't say for certain yes or no, but at the same time, like, I think you know well enough, as you so recently came out of school, like, are you encouraged in that environment to try new things, or are you more encouraged, like, take this level course and then go to university or college?
And trust me when I tell you, you see who hasn't and you see who doesn't have it.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, like, for example, Nick, the kid's got it. Like, when I might talk to him for like 3 hours at a time for an 8-hour co-op. And I mean, he'll get things done in those 3 hours. Well, I mean, he's not getting paid to do a co-op. He could just sit on his phone, but instead he chooses to take the initiative and do something that he knows is going to benefit. So how I proposed it was, listen, I'm going to help you build a business plan that you can actually put into action in 4 years after you're done your 3-year apprenticeship, learning from your guys, and then try to go off on your own. And quite frankly, that's the best way to do it. Just because, you know, you're going to school doesn't mean you can't do anything in that very moment to build a career and build a business or whatever that may look like. Build a career in general. It could be working for somebody that you don't want to do. You got to find something that you do want to do, build a plan around it, and find out how you can bring that to action.
Yeah. See, but I would argue that it's because you encouraged him to try and to go for it. And, you know, you're close enough in age that you can help him and mentor him through that, because it's not intimidating. Right? He's not looking at it like you're a 45-year-old business owner that's being like, write a business plan and then I'm going to look at it and just rip it apart, because that's unfortunately what happens a lot of the time. It's just that word of encouragement of like, hey, I want to help you build something the same way I've built something, and I need you to take the initiative. I don't care what it is. Figure out, like, try different things, figure it out. But let's help you to build it. And I just don't think that that's there. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle is, I don't know what I want to do. And that's okay. And that's the big takeaway from all of this, is that it's okay to not know what you want to do, because eventually if you try enough things, you're going to stumble into it.
And honestly, school, you don't have to necessarily do. Like, it's just, so I think, and here's the thing. Yes, go for it. Go to school. But here's the difference. And kind of what we have in our notes here, because we go back to being young and stupid is okay.
Yeah.
Trying new things is okay, right? Not knowing what you want to do is okay.
Right.
However, actively pursuing to find out what you want to do is what you need to be doing. If you are not actively pursuing that and you don't know what you want to do, you're doing nothing. You are at a standstill and you are hurting nobody but yourself.
And devil's advocate is, well, I don't know what I want to do. So like, what do I do? But my response is, well, try things. Like, it's okay to not know what you want to do. I mean, I'm, 6-7 years out of school now. And it took me 5 years to figure out past high
You were
school.
literally going for your pilot's license.
Yeah.
When's the last time you touched a plane?
Before COVID.
There you go.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I actually think that sums up our whole episode.
Yeah.
Is you were so set on becoming a pilot.
Yeah.
Things change, whether it's a pandemic or whether it's your idea that changes.
Right.
You are now, and quite honestly, Scott, I think you're better suited for the agent side than the pilot side. However, we still have to get into a plane and film a video.
We do.
What are some other things that we could maybe touch on other than, stumble on what you want to do? And quite honestly, you won't know that you want to do it until you just try so many things that you'll figure out that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Or I want to pursue that. It doesn't mean you have to set your whole path up. There was an awesome video, a motivational video that I saw, and it was this guy became a Navy SEAL, went to the military, became a Navy SEAL, right? And was a SEAL for like 10 years. Retired at 30, went back to school, became a doctor.
Yeah.
Retired at like 45. I'm not even joking. Went back to school. With his military background, he became an astronaut. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
He did that all in one life? Sorry, what?
Yeah, and don't feel like you're too old. Like, a lot of people at 22 are looking around like, oh my God, my friends are all graduating university and like, I still don't know what I want to do. Well, don't feel bad, because most of those people that are graduating university also don't know what they want to do. I mean, if you look at it, we briefly just talked about, but like me being a pilot and getting my pilot's license. So that all started because I just picked up one day and went to the airport. I was like, I'll spend $150 that I've saved from working at Tim Hortons and try this, because why not? And it was that non-existent fear of just trying something new that led me to that, with an airport being right around the corner from my house. I was like, well, let's take a drive over and see what happens. And
yeah, well, that's the thing, right? You made that decision so abruptly, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Try it. Hey, I think this might be fun. But then, hey, if it's not fun anymore, now there's the devil's advocate side. Do we think it's absolutely thrilling that we're sitting here filming a podcast at, 9:00 at night when we've been working since 8:00 in the morning?
Yeah.
Is that, thrilling? No, it's not. Is it fun? I think we have some pretty good combos, but it's not like, number one, what we would want to be doing.
Right.
But at the same time, you kind of just have to do things and keep forcing yourself to try until if you despise it, then you can consider, okay, maybe this isn't the right thing for me.
Right. And that's what happened to me with flying. COVID happened and it basically gave me a reason to stop flying, because they came out and said there's going to be no jobs. But at that point, I knew that I didn't want to be doing it anymore, but I felt like I had to, because I'd spent so much time doing it, so much money into it. I was like, I just have to do this now. And I know that feeling of being trapped. Like, anybody that's listening or watching this, I know the feeling of being like, I'm so far into this, I just got to finish and I have to do it now because I've put so much time and money. I have to do it. And I came to that realization at COVID where I was like, I don't need to do this. Let's reset the whole thing. I was 22 and I said, screw it. Let's just see where this takes us now. I talk about it now on a weekly basis, going back to school to become a lawyer. Just because. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. You could become a lawyer at 45, 50. Right.
And I think that's what's so exciting. You can literally, Scott, you can have a 20-year career as a real estate agent and go back and become a lawyer.
Well, this is one of the things that Gary Vee always talks about. And he always talks about basically don't feel like you're too old to do something new. And that ideal that, you know, at 23, you should know exactly what you're doing for the rest of your life is based upon only living to 55 or 60 years old. Well, our average age right now is much higher than that you live till. So he basically says that's half of your life that you have, because if you're 23 and you die at 55, it's almost half your life where you've figured out what you want to do until the end of your life. Well, if you look at it now, if our average age is 80, 85, realistically, you don't have to be doing what you want to be doing until 40. So it's okay to
It's kind of crazy,
try something new.
And you don't hit the peak of your career typically till around 50 years old anyways.
Right.
So at 20, like, come on, if you just keep doing what you're doing, by 50, you'll be pretty comfortable.
So just try it. Just
I think that's
go
how we have to
for
leave it. I think that's how we have to leave it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching and listening to this episode of The Student of the 21st Century. I hope we helped you. If you have any questions, please feel free to DM us. You can check out in the descriptions, you know, our Instagrams, and you can just feel free, shoot us a message. I think we do pretty good at answering, so definitely check us out.
We'll answer.
We'll
I'll
answer
answer and I'll make Sam answer you.
There you go. He'll yell at me. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.